I go, here I go. Yeah, here I go, here I go.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of The Take. I'm your host, Jaxson Burleson, of course. And in this episode, we're going to dive into, some storylines to kind of look into when it comes to the last week of the NFL preseason. I know, it's so close. The regular season's so close. I'm so excited to really dive in to some real football. I know it's been a little bit since we've done a pod. We're going to be getting back into the routine of things. NFL is really starting to kick into high gear. So we're back. We're back, baby, for NFL season. Let's go. Let's go. And if you haven't already, go ahead and check out my last podcast I dropped with Keegan Abels, the Hardin Simmons quarterback, local area kid. Very, very good conversation. I really enjoyed talking to him. So go check that out. It's only on Spotify, audio only. So if you want to go listen to that, you can go ahead and click the link in the description. You can probably find it somewhere on our social media pages. But let's go ahead and make sure you guys know something. We have to make sure we are striving to get to 900 subscribers. I think we're at like 883 right now. I can't remember the exact number off my head, but we're getting up there. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, hopefully by the middle of the NFL season. So make sure to subscribe, like the video, comment what your thoughts are in the preseason. Some starting quarterbacks have been announced, and also hit the notification bell so you do not miss out on a beat. And next week, we're going to be having Mike Zanetti on the podcast to be previewing week 1 and to be previewing the entire season. This is not a preview podcast per se for the season. This is kind of just us diving into some storylines I really, really, really want to talk about. And some of it is going to be about the season. So it's not a whole preview like we'll do next week, the next couple of weeks. So make sure to stay tuned for that episode. That's coming out soon as well. But let's go ahead and dive right into this episode. I don't want to waste any of your guys' time. So the first order of business here is we're going to talk about, Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams made his NFL debut for the preseason this year. He wasn't too bad, honestly. I mean, he, 6 for 10, 107 yards, 1 touchdown. Preseason debut. Now I got, Gabe, Bears fan of mine, texted me going, hey, Gabe, Caleb looked pretty good, Super Bowl, we're going to be better than last year. I'm like, all right, my guy, calm the brakes, please. It's preseason. Okay, it's preseason. I'm pretty sure the Bills weren't even playing their defensive starters. So let's relax for a second here. Because, look, I get it. You want to see progress, but that's what your starting quarterback's supposed to do in the preseason. He's not supposed to go out there and stink. Is that what you're expecting him to do? So, no, I don't want to hear nothing about, Caleb Williams, Bears are back. It's the preseason, dog. Calm down. Please. Please calm down. You guys won 5 games last year. Can we pump the brakes? You guys are in for a rebuild right now. It's not like you guys are going to go from winning 5 games to winning the NFC North this year. That's not going to happen. Not going to happen. And I like what the Bears have done this offseason. I mean, they got Joe Thuney, that left guard from the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a 4-time Super Bowl champion. Okay, he's a 3-time Pro Bowler. He is good. Now, he has struggled with health the last couple years with the Chiefs. That's kind of a red flag for me personally. But then they get Jonah Jaxson from the Rams, and also another Pro Bowler. You get Drew Dalman in free agency, former Falcon. He's been a starting center for the past couple years. So you're getting some consistency in your offensive line. Because last year, your offensive line was the worst in the NFL. You guys allowed 68 sacks, which is top 5 in NFL history. Yeah, go ahead but also look back at those sacks. I think it was 24 of those 68 sacks, Caleb Williams held the ball for more than 5 seconds. Let's see during the season, because in the Bills game, he was getting rid of the ball quickly in the preseason, from what I saw. Quick passes, in the pocket, quick reads, accurate, on time. That's what you need to see. That's what you need to see, because Ben Johnson's offense is complex. And he has to be able to have some trust in Caleb Williams to be like, hey, can you make the adjustments on the line of scrimmage? Because when Ben Johnson had Jared Goff as his quarterback, Jared Goff was always, adjusting protection, changing play, even calling his own plays at times, which is the level that you want to see Caleb get to sometime in his second season. I mean, because the Bears are desperate for some kind of offense. It has to get better this year. There's no excuse for the Bears offense to suck like they have for long time. Long time. And the Bears have not had a quarterback throw for 4,000 yards or 30 touchdowns. So it's at some point, Bears fans, it has to get better, right? Because we all know the talent is there. The talent is there. You've got DJ Moore. You've got Rome Odunze. You just picked up that guy, I can't pronounce his name right now, from the Commanders, Zacchaeus. You just picked up Zacchaeus from the Commanders. Not a bad pickup. You drafted Colston Loveland. You have Cole Kmet, who's a very consistent piece, and you've got DeAndre Swift. Not a bad team on offense. If you look at it on paper, it's the same situation with the Bears last year, except, the offensive line. But this is something that you have to consider, Bears fans. It may take some time. Don't expect Caleb Williams to win a start in his first regular season game under this Ben Johnson offense, Monday Night Football against the Vikings. Don't expect that. But I expect the Bears to be around 500 this year. Maybe a 7, 8, even 9-win team. Maybe. But the NFC North is so good, and that's a whole different conversation. But pipe the brakes on this. Caleb Williams did great against the Bills. It wasn't even the real Bills. So let's stop it here. Okay? And now let's go ahead and go into we're going to go into a couple of quarterback rooms that have been crazy. I feel like this year there's been just so much to talk about when it comes to how deep some of these quarterback rooms are on some of these NFL teams. And the first one I'm going to talk about is the New York Giants. Now, obviously, I think they've said that Russell Wilson is going to start. But man, has Jaxson looked really good in this preseason. He has looked really accurate. He's been poised in the pocket. He's making the right plays. You can see that arm strength that he has. I like what Jaxson has done this preseason. He's really shown that he can pick up the Brian Daboll offense quickly. And that's what you want to see. Because he's over Jameis Winston. He's over Jameis Winston in the depth chart. I don't know why I said Jameson. But he's over Jameis Winston in the depth chart. And that's very, very intriguing. Because Jameis is a veteran. He's been in this league, former number 1 overall pick, go Knowles. He's had some games where he's played well. I mean, there's a game last year against the Steelers. He played particularly well. He was not bad on the Browns. He wasn't terrible. Okay? Now, Jameis is a guy who can also mentor somebody like Jaxson. And I know there have been discussions about, are the Giants going to trade one of these quarterbacks? It doesn't look like they're going to trade any of them. But the one they should consider is Jameis Winston, because I feel like the Giants could actually get some pieces, maybe some draft picks for Jameis Winston, because there are some teams in the NFL that could potentially be interested in Jameis Winston. Maybe as a backup. Maybe. I don't think it's far-fetched to say that the Jets could potentially be in on him. Maybe to back up Justin Fields, but I don't think it's going to happen. What's another team potentially that could maybe go grab it? I don't know. The Saints, maybe? I mean, are they feeling confident with Tyler Shaw and Spencer Rattler right now? I mean, Tyler Shaw's a rookie, but Spencer Rattler, Who else could be a potential trade destination for Jameis Winston? I I'd have to think about that a little bit more, but that could be something to talk about. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Dolphins. I'm just throwing teams out there at this point. Dolphins. I'm losing train of thought with this, but either way, there could be some team that could potentially want it because he could start for somebody. Maybe, but I don't know. We'll kind of pivot from Jameis Winston. We'll go into, Russell Wilson starting for the Giants, which, oh boy. I mean, are you really feeling confident, Giants fans, in Russell Wilson? I mean, look at the numbers for the passing game for the New York Giants. Last year, the New York Giants were 28th in the NFL in passing last year. Last year, the Steelers were 27th. And that is exactly where Russell Wilson just came from. I'm not a big Russell Wilson guy. I think he's washed. I think he still makes very weird decisions with the football. He goes to the check down a lot. But if he's got a receiver like Malik Neighbors, you're going to see him take shots deep. But that's the only person he is going to be throwing deep balls to on a consistent basis. It's the same thing as George Pickens last year. I guarantee you. That's the only reason. Now, there's no way the Giants are going to be worse than they were last year. Let's just get that out of the way. The Giants are going to be a decently competitive team. But I don't think Russell Wilson is going to be the starter after week 5. I think Jaxson-Dart is going to take the reins. They're throwing Russell Wilson in there. He's going to get beat up in his first 5 starts. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing from the Giants. And I'm not really impressed with what they have in the running back room either. But Russell Wilson, to me, I just am not confident in his ability. I'm just not. And look at the Giants' first 3 games. You got the Commanders, Cowboys, and Chiefs. And then the Chargers and Saints. Not the easiest schedule. Not the easiest schedule. You're playing some pretty good defenses right out of the gate. So throw Russell Wilson in there, who's a veteran quarterback. Maybe he can win you some games, but I highly doubt it. I mean, because, if you look at the preseason comparison between Jaxson-Dart and Russell Wilson, I mean, Jaxson-Dart's been getting a lot of work. I mean, he's thrown for 35 passes, 291 yards, but Russell Wilson, 136 yards in the preseason. I wonder who should start. That's what I'm kind of wondering. I wonder who should really start in New York. It's going to be interesting to monitor throughout the year. I just am not a big Russell Wilson fan. I think he's overrated. Plain and simple. He's not the Russell Wilson that was winning Super Bowls in Seattle. He's just not. He's got the name. He's got the experience, which I think Brian Dable likes because he's not having to deal with Daniel Jones. But I think that's something to look out for. When does Jaxson-Dart take that starting job? Because he's going to have it this year. Now let's go ahead and get into this week's Play of the Week. We got a good Play of the Week this week. Rookie running back for the Las Vegas Raiders, Ashtonjeanty. He was putting on a show in his second preseason game against the 49ers, and he brought in some trucking, what he did in college, and we'll play this play, and then we'll get into some Ashtonjeanty.
And having better leverage at the line of scrimmage.
Run again with Jeanty. That's a bulldozer. He is bouncing off defenders. They're creating gaps and creating holes. And we mentioned it. There's not a running back I can think that can go from 0 to 100 like Ashtonjeanty. He's already at full speed, and he finishes his runs.
Oh, yeah. For the people that were like, oh, Dad, Ashtonjeanty's a bust. He had 3 carries for -1 yard. Stop. It's preseason, please. Okay. When in the world did we overreact during the preseason? When did this start? When? Can we just stop overreacting? It is the preseason. It is the preseason. Stop. Stop overreacting like this. That's not fair. It's not fair. These teams are just starting to get used to one another. These players are just starting to get accustomed to playing in the NFL. These rookies. Give them time. Holy crap. I mean, it's such a let's get these results now league. Like, Aaron Rodgers, who is an NFL Hall of Famer, future, he sat behind Brett Favre before he even came into the game. Brady, same thing. He was a backup for a little bit. Jordan Love, backup for a little bit. It's not a bad thing to sit there and develop. That's a whole different conversation from what I was just getting into. I'm sorry, I had to get that off my chest because it's just been a thing that I've been hearing media just, stir the pot up about. I mean, there's no reason. There's no reason. If you mess up in practice, it's okay. That's where you're supposed to be messing up. People and I think it's kind of comical where these media outlets are like, well, the Cowboys struggled during the preseason. You didn't even have your starters. You struggled with your backups. Like what? You can't struggle in the preseason. It's called learning. Those games don't count. Now, if it happens in the regular season, fine. This team struggled. But don't put that in a headline. Stop it. Don't do that. Don't do it. Now, if you've got a legitimate starting quarterback struggling in the preseason, fine. Fine. Say it. Say it. Or Jeanty struggles in debut, fine. But he had 3 carries. And when you put 7 people in the box, which this play, I'm pretty sure that's how many guys were in the box. What is a rookie running back supposed to do? He is getting all the attention. We have never seen a rookie come in with this amount of attention on a scouting report. Period. Never. That is how good Ashtonjeanty is, bro. He's that good. He's a special player. He is explosive. He is strong. And I think he's a very humble guy. From what I've been listening and hearing, I think he's very humble. He's there to work hard and be a Las Vegas Raider. And I think this is a perfect match with him and Pete Carroll. Because Pete Carroll, he's had history with Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch and Ashtonjeanty tend to get a lot of comparisons. That is something to keep an eye on. I think the Raiders are going to be a fun team to watch this year. You've got Geno. You've got Brock Bowers, best tight end in football. You've got Jeanty. And then the Raiders defense, they're going to see some improvements. I mean, you still got Max Crosby there. Now, you don't have Christian Wilkins, which kind of stinks, but you got Tyree Wilson. He's able to generate pressure. You got Eric Stokes. You got Chen, Porter, Holmes in the secondary. I mean, this is not a bad team. That AFC West is an interesting division, too. Very interesting division. Very interesting. But let's go ahead and go to JB's picks. Now, we didn't have odds for this one, so kind of a different pick. But I saw that, actually, I didn't see odds for this, but I saw it was in a parlay that you could simulate on DraftKings. But my pick of the week, the New England Patriots will make the playoffs. And I know I've got a couple Patriots fans listening, so I'm going to make this as clear and as precise as possible. The Patriots are going to be the most improved team in the NFL this year. Last year, it was a struggle. Won 4 games. You were trying to figure out what you had in drakemaye. You didn't have a whole lot of weapons. It was a rough year. You allowed 24.5 points per game. But one takeaway, they had the 10th best passing defense in the NFL last year. And I expect that to improve and their pass rush to improve because you got Mike Vrabel. One, he's won Super Bowls as a player in New England. But 2, the most important part, he has made deep runs in the postseason. Let's talk about that year that he made the AFC Championship with the Titans. They lost to the Chiefs, granted, but that's experience that you can gain. And that year, they had a great running game with Derrick Henry. This year, the New England Patriots, they're going to have one of the best 2-man run games in the NFL. You've got Ramondre Stevenson, which we know who he is. You got Travion Henderson, who you guys drafted out of Ohio State. I like that guy a lot. And you saw in the preseason how electrifying he can be as a returner as well. He brings a different dynamic to this football team that the Patriots didn't really have last year. And then you've also got Stephon Diggs, who is ahead of schedule in his ACL recovery, by the way, which is encouraging to see. That is a player that is so important to the Patriots because let's not forget, Stephon Diggs is not washed. An ACL, you could make an argument, but I don't think so. With the Texans, he played 8 games. But before last season, 6 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Are we just going to forget that? That Stephon Diggs, not even 2 years ago, was one of the best receivers in the game? Was Josh Allen's go-to guy? You've got that for drakemaye now. And then drakemaye, on top of Stephon Diggs, has a very big security blanket that he loves to go to. Hunter Henry, who had career highs in catches and yards last year. 66 catches, 674 yards. This team is going to be really good. Really, really good. You've also got Douglas, okay? Mac Hollins, big receiver. There's a lot to like with this Patriots team. And I'm not just glazing, but I really think it's all going to come together. Because this coaching staff has barely been together. And we'll go ahead and talk about, the coaching staff and what that brings after we hear from your head coach, Mike Vrabel.
This is the 3rd week of our first training camp as a coaching staff and as a team. Like, that's what I want everybody to realize. It's the 3rd week of our first year, and we have to just, we have to get this right. And everybody, we just be prepared to play, and for however long that you're in there or whenever you're asked, and help on special teams. Somebody's got to protect the punter. Somebody's got to go on the field goal unit. Somebody has to be on the kickoff return, right? That our obligation is we have to protect the guys that have the ball, and then, we have to be able to play and get stops just like we did. And that builds confidence and trust throughout everybody on the team.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was referring to. And also, they've got a familiar face returning as offensive coordinator. Josh McDaniels. That's big. That's big. You're bringing back a huge identity of winning and culture with Vrabel and McDaniels. 2 guys who know how to win. Two guys. And two guys who have done it in this organization. That's important. And then also, Will Campbell, the 4th overall pick, looks ready. That dude is a problem. That's why you draft an offensive lineman that high, is so Drakemaye can be protected. And Drakemaye, I love this guy. I think he's so talented. What he showed last year with his legs, his arm, he is a multi-dimensional quarterback. He is going to have a breakout year. Now, you could technically say this, but a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, he was a Pro Bowler last year. Now, I know. He was a Pro Bowler last year. I know. Calm down. That may not mean much. But seriously, for a guy who didn't even play all the games last year, I mean, he was out there bowling. I mean, he's got creativity as well. He's poised. That's what I like about this Patriots team. They're gonna be fun to watch. Very fun to watch. And let's go ahead and go to the next topic. Jonathanmingo. God damn it. The Cowboys, we needed depth at the wide receiver position. He sprains his PCL. It's a 4 to 6 week recovery. He's going to start on IR. Dang it. Dang it. God, man. I hate that. Hate it, hate it, hate it. Hate it. You know, it just sucks because the play it happened, it sucked. And Mingo said, he said something about the injury after the game in the locker room. So let's go ahead and just hear what he has to say real quick.
I ain't feel it till I got to the line of scrimmage, really. So next play. So
talking about on the deep ball, on the catch.
Yeah.
That's when it happened.
Yeah.
Not on the incompletion in the end zone. Okay.
Nah, you know how it is. You catch the ball, you got adrenaline and stuff. You don't know what stuff going on for real until everything calm down.
All right. So I'm going to keep this brief with the Dallas Cowboys, but because I'm going to dive deeper into it next week. But I'm just saying, outside of CD, George Pickens, and Ferguson, our receiving room lacks depth. And that's a problem. And I think Mingo could have been a big piece to kind of help out with that. But, we haven't seen him actually play with Dak yet. He hasn't played with Dak yet. He got traded middle of the season, has to learn a whole new playbook in a week, which I couldn't imagine doing that. That's got to be hard. I mean, these playbooks are so complex. There's so many things to know and be aware of. And you got to know all that on a short week. And Mingo was starting to get comfortable. And then this happens. It just stinks. But at least we have other players. Like Tolbert, Cavante Turpin. I think the Cowboys, one thing about the Cowboys this year that I think everybody as a Cowboys fan should look forward to is how good this passing game is going to be. The potential it has. Ooh, man. I mean, I heard Michael Irvin say something, after the Ravens preseason game, and he made a good point. He was saying that the Cowboys are probably going to have to score 35 points a game to win. Because he's just not confident in their running defense and their run game, which I agree. But losing Mingo, it kind of hurts a little bit. But we'll see the ramifications of that and how much that actually hurts us, because we do have George Pickens. So, if we didn't have George Pickens, maybe it'd hurt us a lot more. But, since we do have Pickens, that's okay. That's okay. But the Cowboys, we've been dealing with a lot of injuries during camp. Rob Jones got hurt. Guyton also got hurt. We've had some guys go down, but we'll see how, quickly guys can get healthy and this team fully healthy, what they can look like. So, yeah, hopefully Mingo, his rehab goes well and we can get him back soon. And then we'll go into some more QB room drama before we end the pod. We got 2 more QB rooms to kind of look at here. And the first one is, the most talked about quarterback room this preseason has been the Cleveland Browns. No one's been, got Joe Flacco in there, who actually, the Browns just announced that Joe Flacco will be the starter, which, I'm not terribly surprised about, but also I wanted Shedeursanders to get a chance. I think he deserved it, at least to move up in the depth chart, because the Browns came out with their depth chart. Flacco's first string, Kenny Pickett's second, Dillon Gabriel is third string, Shedeur is fourth. Now, I'm going to go ahead and key in on the third and fourth string, but before I do that, Joe Flacco, he earned it. 40-year-old player. He's done a lot in this league. He's won a Super Bowl. He's one of 6 QBs since 2000 to start at 40. He's joining Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Matt Hasselbeck, and Brett Favre. Elite company. And he's also starting against the Bengals, which, in his first career start ever, he started against the Bengals when he was 23. So I think Flacco, he's been to the playoffs with the Browns before. He went on that crazy run where he had I think 300-yard games in 5 games. Joe Flacco can do some damage. They got Jerry Jeudy, Njoku, Jerome Ford in the backfield. They got Dylan Sampson. This team has got some weapons. They have players. But let's key in on the third and fourth string. So Dillon Gabriel, he is the third string quarterback. Shedeursanders is the fourth string. Now, Dillon Gabriel, 143 yards, an interception, which was a pick 6, and a fumble. And he's somehow the starter. He's somehow higher in the depth chart than Shedeursanders. Shedeursanders had 2 touchdowns, 138 yards. You're telling me that performance is not better than Dillon Gabriel's Cleveland? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then Dillon Gabriel is just jawing away on the sidelines in an interview mid-game like he actually did something.
And you don't let it infiltrate yourself. Will you share that with everybody at home?
Yeah, I think it's just part of it. There's entertainers and there's competitors, and I totally understand that. And my job is to compete, and that's what I'm focused on doing. Of course, we're doing this mid-game, but it's something that I'll get used to, and just want to be the best team that I can and create an environment where we can all go do our best work. That's all we want to do. All you in this room are entertainers, and you have a job to do. And I respect it, right? And I'm a competitor, so I have a job to do as well. And I think, just understanding that, that's how I've lived by, and I've said that multiple times. So definitely not a new quote, but something that I've definitely said before.
You were referring to media as the entertainers?
Yeah, I just said that, yeah.
Okay. So a lot of people were saying that, Dillon Gabriel was talking about Shedeursanders, which was not the case at all. And if that's true, that's crazy. Not good for a quarterback room. But he wasn't. But still, I'm having a hard time because I don't think that Shedeur-Sanders should not be the third string quarterback or even the backup in that mind. Kenny Pickett hasn't even played a preseason game yet. He's been hurt. Now, Shedeur-Sanders, he had an oblique injury, wasn't able to play in this preseason game against the Eagles, but I still think he earned his spot over Dillon Gabriel. He did. I don't agree with the decision at all to keep Shedeur at fourth string. At all. At all. Dillon Gabriel, to me, the mistakes he made were more costly than the mistakes Shedeur made. Shedeur didn't turn over the ball once in his preseason game. Gabriel did. So, that's what we're looking at here. Why do you have to sit here and pretend that Shedeur is not better? You've got Andrew Berry, the GM of the Browns after the Panthers game, talking to Shedeur on the sidelines going, hey, keep it up, keep it up. That GM knows dang well Shedeur is going to be the guy in Cleveland. You don't see Andrew Berry getting caught talking to Dillon Gabriel on the sidelines like that. Just saying. And I think Dillon Gabriel's a good player. I mean, I've seen him play a couple times. I saw him play in person when he was at Oklahoma before he transferred to Oregon. He had a good season at Oregon. But that's kind of it. I mean, I think Shedeur is a more poised quarterback. He's a more creative quarterback. He's more accurate. And he's a better improviser. And that's what I like the most. And Shedeur is hungry. I'm not saying Dillon Gabriel isn't, but I think Shedeur should have gotten third string over Dillon Gabriel. Easily. Now, last topic to close this out. The Colts announce their starting QB.
All right, I'll start off by letting everyone know that Daniel Jones will be our starting quarterback this season. I thought the competition in training camp was great by both of those guys. I thought they both competed really hard, and it was good to see them cheering for each other and battling the way they did. And you guys heard me talk about the consistency, and that's really what I was looking for. And really the operation at the line of scrimmage, the checks, the protection, the ball placement, the completion percentage, I think all that played a factor in it.
Okay, so line of scrimmage operation. This is where Anthony Richardson has to get better. Because that first preseason game against the Ravens, I know everybody is talking about this play. You've got 5 offensive linemen. Okay? Only 4 guys rush. 4-man rush. And he gets blown up. Who do you blame there? Do you blame the offensive lineman? Or do you blame Anthony Richardson? I think that's where it's kind of hard to determine. But am I surprised that Daniel Jones is the quarterback? No. Because Anthony Richardson, no way you start him. He quit on your team last year, mid-game. I'm tired, coach. How can you seriously trust that guy at the helm? You can't. You can't. And I know he's young, but at some point, you got to see some progression here. You got to see it. And Daniel Jones, like it or not, has played a lot of football. He's won a playoff game. Now, his numbers don't really represent that the last couple years. 2024, he was below average QBR 47.8. But also, like, the con with Anthony Richardson is, like, he's never healthy. His first year in the league, played 4 games. Last year, he missed 6 games. 6. He's always hurt. That's where the consistency part is, like Shane Steichen was talking about. Jones is, he's available. Richardson is not. And I'm pretty sure Richardson was on his way to being the starter if he stayed healthy. But since he doesn't, I don't know when the Colts are just going to get rid of him. I mean, he hasn't really done much. I mean, he's not the greatest quarterback. I mean, 1,800 yards last year, 8 touchdowns, 12 interceptions in 11 games. That's bad. I just feel bad for the Colts because if Andrew Luck never retires, they're never in this situation. Andrew Luck's still playing football if he wants to play football. Right now. They gave everything up for Andrew Luck that 1 year in the draft. He retires because of injury. He said he didn't love the game anymore, which is, understandable. But since 2013, the Colts haven't won a week 1 game. And they've also had 8 different starting quarterbacks. To name, Andrew Luck, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Anthony Richardson, Matt Ryan. That's a couple to mention. Jacoby Brissett. Like, they're trying to find an answer. I don't know if Daniel Jones is that answer, but he's getting a second chance. Because the Giants clearly believed in him. So the Colts are believing in him too. But I don't know how much better Daniel Jones is going to be than Anthony Richardson. Really don't. I don't know what that gap is. I don't know. The Colts are always competitive. I mean, I like what they've done. They picked up Tyler Warren in the draft. Not a bad security blanket for Daniel Jones. You've got Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. You still have Pittman Jr. You've got Downs. You have some weapons. The defense is always serviceable. But, I mean, the Colts last year, when it came to the passing game, they were 25th in the passing attack last year. 25th. Is Daniel Jones really going to make that better? I don't know. But the thing that blows my mind, even with all the things going on with Anthony Richardson last year, they still finished second in the division and were 8-9. That's wild. That's wild to me. That's how good of a coach Shane Steichen is. But at some point, you got to see about trading Anthony Richardson. How much longer are you going to let him sit there and try to figure it out? You got to coach him up. He's got to be mentally preparing himself. I don't know what he's doing, but clearly Anthony Richardson is not evaluating a defense pre-snap. You can just tell. He's already knowing where he's going to go with the ball right when he gets it. That's predictability, and that's not going to fly in the NFL. Not going to fly. They got to figure it out fast. But Daniel Jones, not really shocked, because when I saw that they signed him, I'm like, yeah, he could probably start, because I just don't think Anthony Richardson's all that great. He's got a crazy arm. He's got a great frame. But does he have the mental capability to be a starting quarterback in this league? That I don't know. That's remained to be seen. We haven't seen it. We have not seen it yet. And until we do, I don't know when he'll ever get the chance. Trade him. Trade him. Get rid of him. Get something for him. He is not helping your football team. I don't think he's a great leader because no way in one person's right mind you keep a guy on your roster when he quits mid-game. And I talked about this last year, right after that situation. You can't keep a guy around like that. He showed you who he is. He's not reliable. And I know he doesn't want to get hurt, but he's not reliable in that department either. So when can you rely on him? You have to assume you can't. That's the evaluation of that entire situation. But we're going into the last week of preseason. NFL is literally like 2 weeks away from starting. 2 weeks away. Let's go. Let me know what you guys are excited about for the NFL season and what you guys think. You know, who are they going to be the breakout teams this year? Dark horse Super Bowl winners, things like that. We're going to be giving you all of that next week. So stay tuned for that podcast. But before we get you out of here, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment, and also share this video with everybody you may know that's a football guru. And also, make sure to keep supporting the channel. Let me know what you guys want to see in the next video. But I'm Jaxson Burleson, of course, and you guys have been listening to another episode of The Take. Peace.
Talk to me, baby. Talk to me nice. I'm from another world, baby, yeah. Broadway paradise. They think I'm way too cold, cause I put my